Today, I want to talk about 5 reasons why the project managers get paid high. Most often, people think that project managers add no value to the team. They are just there capturing notes, directing others to do some tasks, but they don't do any hands on work, which is partially true in the sense we don't do any technical coding as such if you're a technical project manager, but the task that is going on is purely strategic planning, thinking, organizing, keeping things on track. Those are things which is not that easy as you think, because managing people is one of the toughest part, and that's why it's one of the high paying job to manage people. If you look at any organization, if you are in the bottom of the chain, then obviously you get paid less because you're applying your skill to complete the job. Whereas as you move up in the chain, then let's say if you are a manager, then you're not responsible just for your task, but you're responsible for the task that is assigned to the entire team. If anything goes wrong, you are accountable. So that's a big deal. And if you look at moving up in the chain, if you're a director, VP, or anybody above up to CEO, you're managing a larger group of people, and typically that translates to larger pay scale. So that's something to think about when you think of project manager role, because it is essentially the first ladder in that leadership role. Most often you won't get assigned people directly under your organization. You're actually managing people that you have no direct control over. And to manage people and get things done for the project when you have no authority as their people manager, it is really a challenging thing. And obviously that's one of the reasons project managers get paid higher. That's a challenging task at hand all the time. All right, so that's just my thought, but I wanted to provide you 5 reasons that I'm going to list now that we will discuss in a bit. And those, I think, in my personal opinion, are some of the reasons why the project managers are in high demand in any industry. And then I am in the IT industry, so I can talk about from an IT project management side, but this applies to any project managers in any industry. All right, so if you think about any project team, you would have a core set of people who are highly skilled in their area. And then if anything goes wrong, or if anybody have any question, you would direct questions to them. They are called the subject matter experts in the team, technical lead or an architect who would know things about IT stuff. And if you are in construction, then if you have question about roofing, then you would direct that questions to the roofing team and things like that. But if you think of a project manager, he or she wears multiple hats, and most often if any question comes from the client or the stakeholders, if you are a PM that add value to the team, then you are supposed to know some kind of answer, given that you wouldn't know the details and at a deeper level, but you should be able to provide some guidance on some basic questions. So I would consider project managers as a mini expert. They are not essentially subject matter experts in any particular area, but they are the experts overall in general in multiple areas. And they should have a high understanding of, if they cannot answer the question, where they can direct the question to or to which person. So that's where the skill set come in, to understand who can provide answers to those questions that as a PM you don't know answer to. But oftentimes as you gain experience and work through the project, you would be able to provide some of the answers because you're listening in those calls and team meetings, and you're understanding and grasping things. You are increasing in knowledge. So some of the questions that you get as a PM would be repetitive. You might have seen emails that had the answers for the question that you have been asked. So you should be able to provide some guidance. And whoever asked the question has additional detailed information required, then you can obviously direct those to the subject matter experts. But that's one reason as a PM, you have to be a mini expert in multiple areas. And then that is a high value proposition. And one of the reasons why project managers get paid high, because you are learning multiple skill set, you are acquiring knowledge on multiple things, and then you're eventually become that mini expert for that project. All right, number 2, Before we get into number two, let's look at the project definition. A project is a unique service or product that is delivered at the end of the project completion. So when you take up a project, let's say you're building a bridge. So at the end of the project, you will have a bridge, which is a product. Let's say a call center. So that's a project, whereas the project team would come and set up the call center. And then once it is established, it will run as an operations, if that makes sense. So either way, any project is at the end have a unique service. The keyword here is unique, because the reason I want to bring this up is if you look at any other task, it's kind of adding skills and knowledge. But as a PM, you are put into unique projects every time. So it's not that easy if you're not a quick learner or if you're not interested in learning new things each time, because oftentimes, especially in IT, most of the projects run 1 to 2 years. And as an experienced project manager, you would always have multiple projects in different business functions. Sometimes it could be in finance, HR, sometimes it could be in procurement. So you're supposed to learn all those functions at a very minimum, how they operate and function and interact with each other, as well as for each project there is a learning curve. And if you're not open to learning, understanding the basic processes, then it will be difficult to manage the project or provide value to the customer. So that's another reason project managers are paid high, because they should be able to come learn and then apply the experiences from the past, because you would never have a same project like a repetition, because then it's not a project, it's an operation. So unlike any other job, project managers are every time put into new project, and they should be able to learn and adapt to the situation, because that's not an easy task, and that's one of the reason they get paid high. Okay, number three, why the project managers get paid high is people management. This is almost similar or tied with the previous point that I mentioned, that each project is unique, and most of the time the project team members could be completely new. Your vendors who are providing services or product to your project, they could be new. So you have to constantly establish new relationship with the team. You have to bring them together and have that rapport built within the team, stakeholders, vendors, and everybody else. Managing people and building rapport is a continuous thing for each project, and that's not an easy thing to do. And that's, I think, is one of the reason the project managers are paid high, because managing a large team or small team, it's always people, there is conflict, and as a PM, you are the first line of defense. When there is conflict, they'll come to you for you to resolve it. So you have to be thinking quick, come up with some resolutions, and provide guidance for the team members. So as they mature, then it will become more easier. But initially, when you start the project, there is always this situation where the team members are new to each other and they won't gel together. So that's always a headache. And for each project, you have to repeat the cycle. So you can imagine why project management is a high stress job, and hence the pay is high. All right, number four, drawing insight from your prior experiences. So as you do more projects, you will gain insights and trends on certain things that is happening. All right, sorry, the sun is directly facing me through the window. So I can give an example that happened to me that was pretty recent. So I was managing a project for implementing a software solution. The software solution was provided by the vendor, and they came up with the project plan because they have implemented this over 20 plus of years in their field, and they are considered as the expert in rolling out the solution. So we just onboarded them to deliver the project, and as an IT business partner, I would be managing and overseeing the project. So IT business partner, if you don't know, it's one above the project manager, but essentially anybody above project management, whether it's a director, VP, or above, everybody is managing in one form or shape a project. Anyway, I digress. So the project was to implement a planning solution for the manufacturing organization. The project plan was pretty simple. It was for a short period of time. So they had all the different tasks for design, building, testing, user acceptance testing, go live, the typical things. And when I looked at the project plan, it was almost complete. But based on the prior experience, I noticed that most often the users who are gonna use the system, if they have never used this before, then they would need training and they would need some time to understand and how to play with this new tool. That would require some time, that could impact the timeline. So those can be questions, or those can be asked back to the vendor only if you have prior experiences from your learnings in the past executing projects, or from other experiences that you have, right? So as a project manager, it's not just taking the plan from somebody else and executing it. It's also to look at the gaps and missing pieces in a plan that could eventually impact the project timeline. So as you gain more experience, you would provide those additional values back to the team. So those are things that project managers always think about, the risk that can happen to the project, because there are 2 or 3 weeks missing in the plan we had not identified at the beginning of the project and not accounted for. When it comes for training, that's when people would realize that, oh, we need to spend some time on training, and they have their day job, right? So these users wouldn't be immediately available. So you have to schedule the training ahead of time and the associated cost and things like that. So yeah, number 4 is always, in this example, learning and bringing insight from the previous project and applying the current project. So those are things that only project managers can bring value into for the project and the project team. And that's another reason why project managers are paid high, because they identify this risk upfront, whereas everybody else is in the details and they're focused on the task at hand, whereas the project managers are considered as somebody who looks ahead of time and plan for the worst. All right, last but not the least is number 5, the ability to summarize the problem and facilitate brainstorming sessions to come up for the resolution. So this could be actually 2 points, but I summarized into 1 point, because often for any project there would be one way or another some issues that you would encounter, and you would have to communicate that to the higher authorities in a very concise manner. And that's a skill that you must develop as a project manager, because they don't want to get into the nitty-gritty details about the problem. They just want to understand, okay, if there is a delay in the project, what's causing it, what we have identified the root cause for that is, and what are the next steps to resolve that. That's like, summarizing in 4 bullet points. Okay, here is the problem statement, here is what we have identified or the current status, here is what we're going to do, and here are the next steps once we make that changes, and any impact because of this particular issue, right? So you should have that ability to provide a summary, and then if somebody is interested in the details, then you should be able to also dive deeper into the conversation. Yeah, you can always engage the project team to go much deeper, but you should be in that middle level where you should be able to summarize it. And in order to summarize it, you should have a good understanding of the problem and the proposed solutions by the team, because otherwise when you summarize and give it to someone else, they might have questions, and if you don't know the details, it will be hard to provide insights and answers to those questions. That's a skill that is unique to project managers, or should be developed as a PM if you are planning to become a PM, or you are already in the project management field, because you would often encounter issues and have to go and tell this problem to higher authorities, and they don't have the time to listen to the entire story. So those are the 5 things that I personally think adds value as a project manager, or that brings value for the project team as a PM. And you are constantly solving problems, whether it's people problem or technical problem or budget problem, it's always there. And as a PM, you are responsible for everything. So it's a challenging task, and also stressful sometimes. But if you enjoy doing and resolving such things, it should be a piece of cake. If you are interested in becoming a project manager, especially in IT, I have developed a full course on it. You can purchase it now. I have reduced the price as part of this upcoming New Year bundle. So if you're interested, this is the right time to take a look at it. And I hope you enjoyed listening to the 5 points that I discussed here as to why the project managers are paid highly. And if you have any comments and additional point that you want to share with the viewers here, put that in the comments below. Or if you think I have missed any other critical points, let me know. I will continue to make these kind of videos. I see there is a high interest in project management, day of the life of PM, things like that. I have two tools. Those videos are coming up on how you can build a good project manager resume using a tool, and also my course, as I mentioned, which would give you good insight as to what you should learn to execute IT projects in general, whether it's an agile or waterfall project. So I'll put those links in the description below. Check it out. And I hope you enjoyed this video. I definitely enjoyed making it. Give it a like. And if you're new here, consider subscribing for more project management videos. I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye.